Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back. On today's Level 1 podcast, we got a lot to get caught up on after my day off yesterday, including a bunch of game news, positive updates, and more. Thanks, and I'll see you in just a sec. Alrighty, welcome everyone. Today is Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Indeed, I am Darkside Phil, and I welcome you here to the Level 1 podcast. I hope that everyone had a great and safe day yesterday. It was my day off from streaming, and therefore, of course, naturally, a million things had to happen because I had my day off, which always tends to happen for whatever reason. It doesn't seem like what day I actually have off, alright? It just seems to me that no matter what, there's always a bunch of stuff that happens when I'm not here, and that's all good because when I come back, guess what? I can get caught up. So I hope that you're all excited and you're ready for fun. Today, we've got quite a lot of stuff to talk about, including a bunch of game news and rumors that hit when I wasn't here. We've also got some very positive updates on some lingering and ongoing issues, which is very exciting. So I hope that you guys are ready. I'm ready for the fun this week. I mean, we've got some cool stuff, man. We got a brand new game coming out tomorrow, ongoing playthroughs that are kind of heading into the home stretch. So this is going to be a pretty fun week, and as long as nothing goes wrong and as nothing screws up the plans or the schedule, I should be here all week long, full-time streaming. There shouldn't be any missed streams or any weird stuff that's going to happen. So let's hope for the best. You know, we are heading into high gear here as we get further into the month with games and excitement and all of that. So it should be a good time. Now, let's start at the beginning, shall we? So last week was very exciting because last week we did a lot of stuff, quite frankly. A lot of reacting, a lot of interesting new things like the new tier maker for the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom kind of pre-hype announcement and all of that. And it was a good one. So if you didn't get a chance to get caught up on all that stuff from last week, by all means, here on DSPGaming, we had tons of gameplay, including Elden Ring, actually getting a good tear back in the Jedi Survivor, the continuation of Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, as well as Oblivion's Shivering Isles DLC. And over on DSP Reacts, we had our usual DSP versus the Internet weekly show, and like I said, the tier maker ranking all the Zelda games. So, good stuff there, and now it is time to head into another week with fun and great new releases. So, I am pumped. Now you might say, well, what did Phil do yesterday? Well, yesterday was either going to be an incredibly over-the-top busy day with tons of stuff, my wife and I kind of running around and doing stuff, or it was going to end up being me just doing kind of errands and having a more chill day. Well, we made our decision, and our decision was actually based on an interesting fact. We actually have a special event coming up on May 21st. For those who don't know, all right, May 21st is going to be DSP's Fight and Feast Marathon. It's 1 week from this Sunday. It's a way to get back into competitive fighting games in a fun way, playing classic games, but also balancing that off with some other chill and fun stuff like tier maker rankings, food, and other stuff. Now, during this event, my wife is going to make several recipes out of the Street Fighter cookbook, all right? And we were looking at some of these recipes, and as we were looking at them, we're like, some of these need some unique ingredients. Some of them seemed that they would need us to go to like a special market to get the ingredients. And so looking at that, we were like, well, here's the thing. 1 week, we definitely want to relax. And 1 week, we want to go out and do stuff, right? So thinking about it, like, well, if we're going to be making these recipes, on or before the 21st, we want obviously that stuff to be fresh. So if we're going to be doing that, we should shop for the ingredients that week. So that way we have them to make those recipes with, you see? So we were thinking, hey, if we went out this week and did a whole bunch of stuff and went to markets and grabbed all the ingredients, well, some of the stuff might not be as fresh. So we're like, you know what, we'll hold off. So we did. We ended up basically having a day where I had to do a whole bunch of errands and the like. I have a little short story to tell you that I thought was quite hilarious, although I don't know realistically what really happened, okay? So yesterday I had to go to the garbage dump, all right? And I do this, I would say I go maybe every few months. It's not often. But what happens is we have some trash that accumulates. I've said ever since I moved here to Washington State, this state is considered, get this, a green state, okay? What that means is that there's a lot of stuff here that's very different from other places. For example, when I lived in Connecticut, if you have trash, you take it out to the dumpster and the garbage company will come and pick it up, you know, once, twice a week, whatever it is, you know, once every other week. But there's an area to put your trash. Here, they don't have that. Here, I'm not joking, they allow you to have 1 can of trash every 2 weeks. Yes, 1 can of trash every 2 weeks. That is really annoying, all right? Especially if you have pets, like we have Jasper. I mean, we change his litter box at least a couple times a week. That accumulates. You know, that's half of a garbage bag right there. And you don't want that sitting around the house, you know what I mean? But there's other stuff, you know, to clean the house or whatever, and every once in a while you're going to end up having more garbage than stuff. Well, and what it is they actually want us to be so green out here. They want you to separate all your trash. I'm not kidding. This is what they want you to do. 1 can for just recyclables. So that would be, you know, cardboard, plastic, etc. That isn't that big of a deal. And once you get into the swing of that, you know, no big deal. But then they want you to have one where you literally take all of your food scraps and you're supposed to either put them down a food disposal in your sink, which we have, or you're actually supposed to separate that out and put it into a separate can that then goes into what they call composting. But there's all these incredibly strict requirements of what could be and not be composted, and it can't have any kind of things mixed in with it. It's basically a pain in the ass, all right? And then you have your actual can of trash, which is supposed to be everything else, you know, soiled paper products, plastic that can't be recycled, packaging, tape, you know, junk like the cleaning, you know, clean your house, you're going to throw that out. So all that stuff, right? Now, here's the thing, okay? If it wasn't a big deal, like if it was easy to do, if they made it easy to do, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't care. The problem is the criteria are so strict that if you do it wrong, you get yelled at, you get in trouble. We have a compost bin at the end of the street, and there's been several times, and it wasn't actually me or my family, but there's been several times since I've lived here in the 10 years I've been here, that there's been angry, you know, messages going out. You guys put the wrong thing in the compost bin again, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, so it's super strict. But then you want everyone to do it, but then you won't make it easy. So obviously people aren't going to do it right? And then on top of that, so then, oh, well, because we have the separate trash, recycling, and compost, well, that means that you only get 1 can of trash every 2 weeks. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, again, where do the rules come from? Did anyone actually test them to see if they would make sense? And how many people actually abide by them, right? That's a really good question. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because I had to go to the garbage dump yesterday. Like I say, every few months, it's usually 2 to 3 months, we have garbage that accumulates. I save stuff that's basically like not food to be thrown out in a group thing, and I go to the garbage dump, all right? So I basically cleaned out the garage, went to the garbage dump. Now I've got big-ass heavy bags of trash. This has cat litter and other heavy, dense shit in it, okay? So it's heavy shit. This isn't like, oh, it's a bunch of paper that's light. These are very heavy bags weighing down my car. So I go to the dump. Now, here's how it works. Yes, you have to pay money. It's not free, okay? You have to pay money to go to the garbage dump, which is, I guess, fine. So you pay, and you drive in, and it's this, like, how can I explain it? Like it's not a hole, because it's actually like concrete, like a big, giant, rectangular concrete area in the ground. And on the edges of it, they have these, like, ropes to stop people from walking in, because obviously you're not supposed to go in there. But what you do is you drive up, and there's all these parking spots, and you back in, and you take your bags or your trash, because people who are contractors and stuff, you know, they have jobs where they destroyed furniture and shit. What are you going to do with that? You get rid of it at the dump. So all you do is you back up, and then you take your stuff, and you throw it through the ropes or over the ropes into this big gully or whatever it is. And they have these machines that come during the day. These people will come and they'll control the machines. Big metal arm comes down. It'll push all the stuff around and crush it all together. And then eventually a truck comes and just grabs that giant container that's in the ground and drives away to actually go to the real garbage dump. This is essentially like a transfer station where you dump your stuff, okay? So I go and, I go to it and I'm looking, I'm like, what's going on? The entire thing is different. Now, I haven't been there in a few months. Like I said, I probably went like beginning of this year was probably the last time that I went to the dump. So it's been a while since I've been there. So I go in, I'm like, this looks completely different. All right? There's a giant yellow metal wall blocking where you throw your trash. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, and I would say this metal wall was probably up to chest level. So probably like maybe 4 to 5 feet tall. It was literally like up to right here, okay? So if it's going to be around here, think about this. Right by default, if you're short, how are you supposed to throw your trash out? Right? Now, you might say, well, it's a metal wall. Well, what is it, a gate? It is a gate, but it's padlocked shut. And you can't open it unless you find an employee who's not doing anything and explain to them, hey, I've got a ridiculous amount of trash I need to throw out, and I can't just throw it over. Can you open the gate and supervise while I do this? So I'm looking all around, and I'm like, why would they have done this, right? And I'm looking all around, and I see these new signs that have never been there before. And they say, get this, warning, danger, stand back from the drop zone. Warning, fall danger imminent. And I'm looking, I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I know what happened. Some fucking person came in here, clumsy as shit, and must have fallen into the fucking garbage ditch. And probably got hurt. They probably went in there and fell and broke a leg because it's all trash down there. You got furniture, you got metal, you got all kinds of shit. They might have fallen in there, got stabbed, right? Or impaled or something. So someone was basically completely not being responsible, falls in and gets hurt. Now, what are the chances they didn't sue the city, right? I guarantee you, if someone fell in there, they're probably suing. Now, I've been to this dump probably 2 to 3 times a year for the past 3 years, maybe 4. All right. I think I started going when Kat had actually moved in. We started cleaning the house out, and that's when we started going to the dump. So probably 2018. So you're talking 4 or 5 years. Not once have I ever gotten close to falling into this thing. And I've had giant ass heavy bags of trash. Not once. And the thing is, I've been going, this must not have been a frequent thing, or else it would have happened earlier. So you have to say one person, literally one person probably, being completely unsafe, slips in, gets hurt, and now they have to change the whole process. So now, to throw your trash, you either have to go find an employee and beg them to unlock the gate for you, or you have to throw your trash over a wall that's a good 6 feet away, if not further, from the ditch. Now again, if you're having light-ass trash bags, oh, it's just a bunch of cleaning stuff for my house, but we have, heavy-ass things that have, cat litter and other things that have accumulated. So these bags are heavy as fuck, all right? So I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to go running around looking, because there's no employees, by the way. Looking around, there's no one there. There's no employees there. It's empty. So you have to wait around to try to find someone. They probably have skeleton crew like most places these days. So I'm like, well, I just got to figure out a way to kind of throw it over. So there's a stairwell made of metal leaning up to one of those crane machines. And this is open and available. You can just walk up it. So like, all right. So I grab my trash bag and I walk up the stairwell. And I have to do a sideways toss to get my bags into the ditch, or else it wouldn't go. Like, I'd have to just jump it over the wall, and it would sit there and accumulate gross. Now, the thing is, I get the feeling that's what's going to happen. You get a busy day, do you really think people are going to give 2 fucking shits about throwing their stuff in the ditch? No. They're just going to say, oh, well, fuck you, and they're just going to dump it right over the wall and leave a giant pile of rotting shit there, and no one's going to care. So that's what's going to end up happening, is this new system to protect the people who slip in is just going to make a giant, disgusting, festering mess. Well, yeah, I get what you asked for, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Like, one person, makes a mistake, has an accident, and now the whole system's going to get broken, And you could tell it was new because this wall did not look old. You could tell they probably added this wall in the last couple of weeks, and even the signs look brand new. So you could tell this is a new thing. So I guess we'll see what happens, but it was pretty frustrating because here it is. So here I am. Now, you guys know I have a bad back, right? I don't have a good back. My back is, had back injuries over the years. I told you recently, my upper back's been killing me. So here I am taking these giant bags of heavy trash, and instead of just being able to push them in like I used to be able to, now I got to lift, and I'm literally throwing like this. Oh! I'm doing like giant arcing tosses of heavy-ass bags into this fucking ditch, which I shouldn't be doing, all right? It's fucking stupid. Anyway, I got it done, and luckily I didn't seem to hurt myself. My back seems all right, but I mean, that's luck. It really is. I shouldn't be putting myself into a situation like that when I have an established back injury that re-injures itself every once in a while. I've been having issues with my upper back. It's just bullshit. But I guess I got to deal with it now because some person slipped in and hurt themselves, and now everyone else, has to now deal with the repercussions of that. Now, that's modern human societies. Instead of actually, like, being reasonable, like saying, okay, danger, throw out your trash at your own risk, and, warning, if you fall in, it's not our responsibility. Instead, have to build a giant fucking metal wall so no one can throw the trash out. Like, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Stupidity. Anyway, so that was the first thing I did. That was super fun. And I did my usual errands, went to the pet store, went to grocery shopping, I had a few things to return at stores around the area and stuff. Various different things that I do on my day off. So it was a pretty busy day, kind of going all around. And, normal. Came home. We actually cleaned the house yesterday. We decided since I was going to be, home and we weren't going out, that we should make use of the time. And we did a pretty thorough cleaning of the various different rooms, scrubbing floors and, cleaning toilets. And I know, very exciting for my day off, right? For dinner, we ended up having Chinese food. A really good Chinese restaurant we ordered from. I got the exact same thing that you saw me eat months ago when I ordered Chinese food for one of my special marathons. It was called black pepper chicken. I love it. It just tastes so amazing. Savory and a little bit of spice and everything. Really good. And my wife got kung pao chicken, which was very spicy. We didn't know it was going to be that spicy, and she's probably like, I'm never ordering that again. It was way too hot. We ended up sharing. Like, she ate half, I ate half, and then we swapped. So she ate the second half of mine. I had some of hers. I was like, wow, yours is really hot. Like, very spicy. So we had that, and, we ended up kind of relaxing. We were watching various playthroughs. We watched someone actually play through the entirety of The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, which has been a broken, horrible mess. They finally finished it, and it was funny because when they first started playing the game was full of bugs and issues, but I guess they did patch the game, and it runs better now, because we watched them play the whole second half without any real bugs. So seems like it was pretty good. It was interesting because this is a person who had never played the game before and didn't even know the ending. I was like, damn, 10 years later, someone actually doesn't know the ending to The Last of Us 1. It's interesting to see how they reacted. Pretty much how I did, like a philosophical discussion about like what was the right and wrong choice to make in the case of, Joel and Ellie and the Fireflies. So, and then we relaxed a little more. Nothing too major. A pretty laid back day. Next week's going to be a way more busy day for us. For sure. Where we're going to be doing all kinds of, interesting stuff to prepare, like I said, for the special event coming up on May 21st. We got to go shopping. So that should be fun, okay? Anyway, so that was the day off. Nothing too special. But, of course, as I said, whenever I have a day off, a million things happen. There was a ton of gaming news going down, like out of nowhere, and some other positive updates that I'm about to reveal to you, okay? So I hope that you guys are ready to talk about some interesting stuff that happened. I mean, there's a reason why I'm wearing this shirt today in particular, okay? Anyway, so welcome everyone. This is a 6-day streaming week for me, starting today and ending on Tuesday of next week. It should be 6 full-time days, and what I mean by that is there should be no interruptions. It should be 6 days of full-time gameplay streaming without any problems, which should be fine. And I hope that you guys will join me all day, every day. Okay, well, obviously it's not all day, every day. There's breaks and everything. But this is a pretty good schedule for this week. I feel like what we should do is go through the schedule, talk about what I'm doing this week, so that you guys are in the know about that. And then we'll talk a little bit more about long-term events going on this month. And then we will get into some very positive updates and game news. Okay? Sound good? I see many people are showing up. Very nice. Okay, let's get started. So today, we got a fun Level 1 podcast, and when this show is done, we're going to switch over to Elden Ring. This is my second run in the game, the Glintstone Magic run. Last year, obviously, I played it as a new release, and this year I've really been enjoying going through it for the last, 3 weeks or so as a Glintstone Sorcerer. Very different run. You're essentially a glass cannon, meaning you die almost instantly every time you get hit by almost everything. But you're very powerful as long as you're using the right build, which I have been, because you guys have been guiding me to do the right things in this build. And I've been having a really good time in the game. We're actually currently in the capital city, or Imperial City. And we're about to head to the second half of it to clear it out. But also we got to go back and unlock the underground sewer area, because that's the optional dungeon in the Imperial City. Obviously, I want to be able to do that at some point, go fight the first version of Moog. So today we'll likely try to finish the Imperial City, like the second half, because that really opens up the next half of the game. But then when we do that, we'll probably end up going back and doing some of the optional stuff, like either Deep Root Depths or the Astal River / Noxtella or something like that next, since so that way we don't skip it. That should be pretty fun. Tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. It's the continuation of Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. We've made great strides in the game. We're now firmly into the second half of the game. Really enjoying the run so far, and you guys have been a great interactive audience. It's my first time I've ever played this for YouTube. I've played this game in the past, but I've certainly not, done anything interactive or done a public playthrough for you guys, which I've really, really been enjoying. So I hope you guys will join me for that tonight, okay? Tomorrow, special day, because ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is the release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So one of the news stories that obviously I should talk about is that this morning, all the early reviews released for the game, and every major news outlet, and I'll emphasize that, every major news outlet, meaning all the big high-profile media, not individual gamers, but the big media, are essentially saying it's a 10 out of 10. It's better than the first one. It's such an amazing, robust, groundbreaking gameplay experience that never feels boring and always is refreshing and interesting. And I read some of these reviews, and I'm like, this is very reminiscent of what happened back in 2017. In 2017, every game journalist literally got down on their knees and kissed the ass of Breath of the Wild. Like, literally right on Link's butt cheeks, they started kissing. It's disgusting, because Link he's out there fighting, all kinds of shit. Octoroks and fucking Ganon and shit. His ass is very sweaty. But they're down, and they're basically kicking his butt. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you kissing him for? I just don't get it, because here's the thing, all right? Breath of the Wild was good, all right? It was good. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought that it was a really awesome Zelda experience with the open world that kind of had a similar kind of concept to, say, a Dark Souls game where, hey, you see it, you can go there, right? I liked the take that they changed up the dungeons, although I think I would have enjoyed more traditional dungeons. But the fact that they had mini dungeons that were more puzzles, and then the larger dungeons that were kind of beasts, was kind of interesting. I thought the plot was just okay, honestly. And again, the graphics were just kind of okay. The graphics did not blow me away. I tried playing it on Switch, and my Switch bricked, so I played it on Wii U. Apparently, it played better on Wii U anyway, which is kind of funny. Apparently, on Switch, it was even more choppy. But there were things that weren't perfect about the game either. The whole weapon durability system was a very big slog. It basically held the game back, because you had to always kind of worry about your weapons breaking or whatever, and I didn't really like that. I also thought that there were some things about the game that were quite annoying, certain enemy types and stuff. I thought it was a mixed bag, but it was a very positive mixed bag. I enjoyed it way more than I disliked it. A game that I liked way better that year, that for some reason the game's media did not kiss its butt, was Super Mario Odyssey. I thought Super Mario Odyssey was an amazing way to take Mario into the modern age. It still retained a lot of the open 3D platforming aspects of games from prior iterations, but it added in a whole new mechanic of platforming and puzzles and challenge with the hats. So I thought, if anything, you're going to tell me a game that innovates. Well, all Zelda Breath of the Wild did was take Zelda and bring it into a modern era of every other game being an open world game, right? While I felt Mario Odyssey actually innovated. In addition, Mario Odyssey ran beautifully on the Switch. Smooth 60 frames, gorgeous graphics, much better performing, honestly, than I felt Breath of the Wild did. And most game journalists give like an 8, but Breath of the Wild's a 10, right? And I just didn't understand it. I was like, I don't get it. Clearly, if you're a fan of Nintendo games and you've played them all, you would see that Mario Odyssey is a better improvement than Zelda even is. Breath of the Wild, I should say. So why would you always say that Breath of the Wild is 10 out of 10? And by the way, Breath of the Wild won fucking Game of the Year that year at the Game Awards. Like, why? I didn't get it, you know? And again, I'm not down-talking Breath of the Wild. I enjoyed Breath of the Wild. I thought it was a good game, but I wasn't in love with it, and I didn't even understand how people could be making these positive points about it when it had a lot of negative to it as well. It was kind of, like I said, it was a mix of good and bad, way more good than bad, but still it wasn't some perfect game, but a lot of people were acting like it was. So, fast forward to today. It's literally the same situation again, from what I'm seeing, right? It seems like these games journalists are afraid to criticize Tears of the Kingdom. They're literally kissing its ass. And I'm like, here we go again. You know, I don't even know if I could trust them. The reviews are reading the same. If you read a review of Breath of the Wild and then you read it next to the review of Tears of the Kingdom, essentially it's the same review, except that they're basically saying, oh, it now has crafting, and the crafting adds even more to it, and there's more ingenuity in the puzzles and whatever. But outside of that, it's like, what else? Is there anything else? And like, So, what it is they fucking kissed Breath of the Wild's ass so badly that if they take a game that's a sequel that essentially just is a straight-up sequel to it, and they say it's not as good, then their previous review wouldn't even make sense. So, of course, they're going to say it's 10 out of 10, right? They're going to ignore all the flaws. This thing's running on the Switch. Do you really believe this thing is going to run beautifully on the Switch and have no issues? Honestly? We're going to find out. Here's the thing, all right? I am not going to go into Zelda with preconceived notions, and I'm not going to go into Zelda with the intention of ripping it a new asshole. I think, sadly, a lot of people who do online content these days are definitely looking for that. They're looking for something to yell at. They're looking for something to complain about, to be controversial. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to buy the game today. I'm going to install it on my Switch. Starting tomorrow, all day long, we're playing this. We're playing it on the first and second streams. I'm going to give this game a fair shake. I'm going to, judge it for what it is. All right? I'm going to be honest. From what I've seen, I'm not necessarily in love with the idea that half the game is crafting. If I wanted to play a game that was full of crafting, I would either play Minecraft or I would play, Fortnite Battle Royale before they got rid of the crafting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be playing a game that already has established gameplay elements that everyone likes and wants, and now this has to take a back seat because you decided to combine it with crafting from other franchises. I'm a little confused at this, of how this is supposed to be something that is going to be a 10 out of 10 situation when all you've done is taken something from another franchise, lifted it, pasted it into your game, 10 out of 10. How? I don't get it, and I don't even understand how it's going to really fit in, because I do feel like it's going to end up being something that kind of holds us all back, right? So, I guess we're going to see. Let's see what happens, all right? And I'll judge it fairly like I always do, at face value. I hope it's good. I'll be honest with you guys. I hope it's good. It's going to feel a little weird and nostalgic. Here's why. Breath of the Wild was the first playthrough ever, way back in 2017, so you're talking 6 years ago, when I actually became an interactive streamer. That's right, that was the early 2017. Before that playthrough, I was basically someone who made content for just on-demand viewers. Even though I had a live audience of hundreds and sometimes thousands, I ignored them. Now, let me ask you a question. Does that make any sense? If hundreds to thousands of people are coming to your streams to tune into you every day, why would you act like they're not there? And the answer is because I was an idiot. I didn't understand the giant potential that I had to be an interactive streamer. And then when I started doing it, and my content changed, because I was having fun, meaningful conversations, because people were actually adding in their opinions, and sometimes if I got stuck, they would help on a game, or it made second runs of games better, or retro games better, because people could add in their own, knowledge and stuff like that, rather than just be me trying to do it cold. My content changed a lot. And I do feel like today, my content today is just way more meaningful. I really 100% feel that. All right? And thank you, because I really do appreciate those who come and interact with me on a daily basis. 6 years of fun, interactive streaming, as opposed to me just sitting here playing games for myself. So it's funny because I remember distinctly, while playing Breath of the Wild, having those conversations with everyone. Wow, everyone, I'm talking with you guys now. What do you want to talk about when I'm playing? And people, I remember back then people were trying to troll. They were doing like 10 cent, cheers. It was 10-bit cheers over on Twitch. and essentially it pop-ups constantly on the screen. I was like, how am I going to play the game when the pop-ups never end, right? And people were basically trying to mess around with the whole system. It was kind of fun, but it was very much like the Wild West at that point. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So let's play it by ear tomorrow. Let's be fair, playing it all day, both streams. Let's see for ourselves and judge, you know, how much of a major thing is this new crafting system? Is it really going to change the face of how the game plays? How fun is it? If every games journalist is saying 10 out of 10, yeah, sadly, I hate to say it, have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Because they did exactly the same thing with Breath of the Wild, and I thought that was a far from perfect game. Good game, but a far from perfect one, okay? However, I will say this. It does dishearten me when it comes to like the Game of the Year awards this year. Because if all the journalists are just saying 10 out of 10 Zelda, this is what they did in 2017, and Breath of the Wild's immediately just a shoo-in for Game of the Year. Yeah, but there's a lot of other games coming out this year that have really good potential. I think this year, we actually have big potential to actually see a game that normally would not be a Game of the Year contender be one. Like, for example, we might have a fighting game with Street Fighter 6, or maybe Mortal Kombat 12, or maybe Tekken 8. Maybe we could have a fighting game that could actually be a Game of the Year contender for once. That would be pretty cool, because that shit never happens. It's always, oh, that's its own genre. But what about overall? If a game is providing content, if a game is providing great control, great graphics, tons of replayability, just because it's a certain genre, it's not eligible. Oh, but Zelda is just by default always the Game of the Year, right? I don't believe that. So I guess we'll see what happens, but starting tomorrow, it's Zelda time, all day long, first and second gameplay streams, okay? Then on Saturday, it's going to be DSP versus the Internet. This is my weekly clip react show where I react to clips that the members of the channel have nominated. If you're a channel member and you didn't nominate clips yet, I strongly urge you to do so. I'm looking at you Ultra members, because the way it works is when you become a channel member, you go to a general community post that I post up every Sunday night, and you nominate the videos you want me to watch on the show. Now, it's first come, first serve, so we just go in order, write down the listing, and, you know, it's always fun, it's always good variety. But the Ultra members, people who join at the highest level, which obviously is more expensive, but it supports the channel more, they're guaranteed to have their videos watched on the show, you see? So, if you're an Ultra member, I strongly urge you, if you haven't yet, post up your videos right away. When I checked the other day, now admittedly this was like a day or two ago, there was only 5 Ultra member submissions. Usually we have like 9 or 10. So half the Ultra members apparently didn't post, and you're going to miss out, because if you wait till the very last minute, I might miss your post. You know, you have to post up within 24 hours of the show. So I would say, please, today, post up your nominations for DSP versus the Internet if you haven't yet, all right? And by the way, that's all over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts. That is my React channel. We had a lot of new content over the last couple of weeks, including clips from the DSP versus the Internet show, my long-form React to the Internet Historian YouTube channel, the review of the new Legion of Superheroes animated movie on HBO Max, and yes, my latest tier maker from Monday night, which was ranking all the Zelda games, which has done pretty good views-wise, and I'm very pleased with how that performed. So there you go, okay? Saturday night, we're going to do more Zelda. Yes, the late stream on Saturday will be another dose of Zelda fun. Then on Sunday, we'll mix it up. So Sunday's main gameplay stream will be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And Sunday night will be Oblivion, excuse me, got a little indigestion. Oblivion, Shivering Isles DLC, which we're actually getting very close to finishing, and I'm thinking we may actually finish the DLC on Sunday night, which then means we can head into the home stretch of the game's story and maybe beat it within a couple more streams and wrap up the Oblivion playthrough, okay? So then, Monday and Tuesday, we're kind of alternating. Depending on how much you guys like Zelda, all right, will determine how much Zelda we play. We could easily play Zelda both days. We could play Zelda one day, and then we could do more Star Wars. You know, we'll see. Or if you really want Elden Ring, we could even put Elden Ring in there too. It's up to you. And then the night streams, again, will be alternation between Final Fantasy V and Oblivion as we push to finish. Now, here's the thing. At this point now, I'm juggling 3 daytime games. That's too many. So my goal is to try to finish up with Oblivion, Final Fantasy V, or both within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And now the night streams will also be reserved for main daytime games, because there are a couple games coming out in the next couple of weeks that I'm interested in playing. But honestly, right now, I can't take on another game. I don't even have a time slot for it, you see? So dependent on how the late night streams go, that'll determine what games are daytime games, what games will be pushed into night streams, what games will alternate, etc. The next major game I'm really eyeballing for this month would be the Lord of the Rings Gollum game that's coming out at the very end of the month. It looks interesting. It's supposed to be following the story of Gollum when he's not doing things that were essentially in the movies. So there's this in-between time where he had lost the ring to Bilbo, but he was basically working for Mordor, and Mordor was doing stuff, and then he actually, at one point, I guess, was with Aragorn or something. So there's all this time frame covered in this game, which is interesting. And I'm interested in it. But, you know, I don't know if we're going to have time to do it, quite frankly. So because we're going to be already juggling 3 games and another 2 games at night. So we have to see what happens when it comes to the schedule. I have about 2 weeks to kind of focus in on the games that I'm playing right now and see how far we can get. And if we wrap up some of the nighttime games that maybe we have opportunity to add another game to the rotation, we will, okay? So it's kind of a wait-and-see attitude. I don't want to promise you what games I'll be playing by the end of the month, only because we got to see how far we're getting in the current ones, all right? But I am hoping, hopefully, we do see major progress in the completion of some of these late-night chill stream games, and then we can have more games into the major rotation. Keep in mind, the late-night chill stream games are essentially supposed to be filler for when there's not new releases. Now we have new releases, and I'm realizing, oh crap, I have too many going on, and I need to kind of scale back on the late-night chill for now, okay? Okay, so, there you go. And one other thing, we already mentioned it, but I just want to keep, you know, hyping it up. Yes, on Sunday, May 21st, it is DSP's Fight and Feast event, where we'll be hyping up old school Street Fighter by playing the old school games. You guys will vote on which ones in the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection you want to see me play. You'll be voting on character selection, and I'll be playing through those on the arcade modes at the highest level of difficulty. There's also going to be multiple tier maker ranking challenge events where we're going to be ranking fighting games and maybe Street Fighter games and Street Fighter characters and stuff like that. That's going to be fun. I'll be trying out recipes from the Street Fighter cookbook that my wife is going to make. We'll maybe have some drinking during that event, and maybe even a fantasy match in WWE 2K. We'll see. So mark the calendars. It is 1 week from this Sunday. DSP's Fight and Feast here on DSP Gaming. I hope you will consider joining. It should be a great time. Okay? All right, and outside of that, you know, that's really all I have to talk about right now. Obviously, you know, as we get further into the month and we see how things go, we might have more to talk about. So, guys, thank you so much. Already people are contributing, and I really appreciate that. I will shout out all contributions after we get through the next segment. Remember, contribution shout-outs and all that is at the end of the show. But thank you so much. Remember, I am a crowd-funded individual, and what that means is I don't get sponsorships or partnerships or anything like that. We keep those off the streams purposefully so that when you guys are here, we can have fun interactions. You can trust what I'm saying because I'm not shilling some product, and we can have a good time together that's meaningful. So not just a paid, you know, promotion for me to make a living. You guys allow me to make a living doing what I love, and I really appreciate all the support you guys give me every day. Whether it's simply liking a stream or a video, which adds engagement, whether it's commenting on a stream or commenting on a video, which also adds engagement, whether it's a super chat or a super sticker here on the stream, or maybe a super thanks on a video you're particularly enjoying, maybe consider becoming a member of the channel or gifting some memberships to the community. You know, I would say these next couple of weeks, you know, starting tomorrow with Zelda, and then the next couple of weeks, the special Street Fighter event and everything, we're going to probably have some really good attendance on streams coming up. So now would be a great opportunity if you wanted to help out the community and you wanted to drop some gifted memberships. This would really help out right now, right? We've lost over 100 gifted memberships in the last week because that was kind of the anniversary of my birthday from April, and we had a lot of gifted memberships in April, and they expired. So, hey, give some memberships now. There's going to be tons of people here ready to accept them. And thank you in advance to anyone who supports the community in that way. I really appreciate that. Okay? Cool. All right. Without further ado, I think it's time for us to start talking about gaming news and other things that have happened. All right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me get this open here to my news listing here of all the things I want to talk about today. So there's apparently a strong rumor that Bloodborne is finally going to be re-released and remastered. Not a remake from the ground up, but that Bloodborne will actually be released for PC and PlayStation 5 this year, perhaps. Alright? The rumor is coming supposedly from David Jaffe, the guy who created God of War, who seems to be an industry insider who's had some advanced knowledge of things like the Wolverine Sony exclusive game beforehand. So maybe he's right. maybe the climate is finally right for this to happen, okay? But a lot of people are incredibly skeptical. They're like, dude, wait a minute. There have been rumors over and over of Bloodborne being re-released, remade, whatever, for years and years and years, and it's always been a lie, even when people claim it's credible. So a lot of people are like, you know what, Mr. Jaff or whatever, I don't know if it's Jaffe or Jaff, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's like, listen, he's a nice guy, but you know what? Still, even though he's usually right on the things that he says and predicts, people are still being incredibly skeptical about this and saying, yeah, I don't know if I should believe it. You know what it is? It's a case where when you get your hopes up, right, so much about something, so often, what ends up happening is you just don't really care anymore. If it happens, and that's great. But when you hear this rumor over and over, you get what they call punch drunk, or you get kind of desensitized to it. You know, would it be great to have Bloodborne released on a modern console? Of course it would. One of the major complaints about Bloodborne is that it's stuck at 30 frames per second and always has been. You can't actually even unlock it. If you try, the game basically breaks apart and crashes. It was designed to run at 30 frames. So if they're redoing it at 60 frames for PC and for PS5 with better detail, I think everyone would be back into Bloodborne. I would do another run of Bloodborne. For sure I would. That's a great game. I love the lore of Bloodborne in particular. It's really fun. So, you know, I'd be excited, but again, it's like, do you really want to actually get your hopes up? Probably not, right? Probably not. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I distracted. I'm good now. Okay, so that's the first story. Continuing on. Let's see here. Oh, this was an interesting one. Because this is one that I feel like this is something that should have been years and years ago, and I don't know what took them so long. Google has now publicly confirmed it is testing new technologies and experimenting, with a feature that limits the use of ad blocking on YouTube. All right? Now, it's funny because this has been a huge thing on YouTube forever, right? Now, these days, is ad blocking as big of a concern as it used to be on YouTube for content creators? Not as much. Why? Because ad revenue tanked in 2017, and it's kind of went way down. And then it kind of went a little above, then went way down again. So when ad revenue is going like this and usually is on the downward trend, it's not as big of a deal. YouTube has been trying desperately in the last few years to try to shove advertising down everyone's throats. For example, just recently, all right, I was on a live stream. And you guys said to me, Phil, why are ads running? And I said, what are you talking about? What, ads running? Like, yeah, ads are running literally right now. We can't watch it. And I was like, what? So I checked into it, and come to find out, YouTube implemented this new thing that I had to undefault it, where when you do a live stream, YouTube will just determine when it feels like running ads and just run ads. You don't have to enable them. It just does it out of nowhere. And I was like, well, I don't want that. I want to control ads in my content. I want to be sure if I'm going to do an ad break, I'll do an actual ad break. I don't want to be in the middle of an important discussion on a podcast or in the middle of a critical, important boss fight that you want to see, and now it runs a freaking ad, and when it comes back, oh, it's over. Right? Like, how would that be meaningful at all? That's completely detrimental, right? Like, I want ultimate control over my content. So I ended up having to undo it, but that's just one example that YouTube keeps adding in these things to have advertising. And it's obvious they're trying to push it to make more money. Because remember, YouTube makes money on ads primarily. I mean, what else are they making revenue on? Probably paid memberships and super chats and super stickers. That's what they're making their money on, right? So, one of the big concerns and things that people have always talked about is basically how with YouTube, ad blocking, how that could be a big negative detriment for content creators. Because if you're someone who relies on making significant ad revenue, right, and your ad revenue is now being blocked by someone, right? Because they're using an ad blocker. Essentially, some people over the years have actually equated it to stealing, saying if you're watching my content and my content has ads enabled, and you have an ad blocker on, it's like you're stealing the content. Because the agreement is you're going to watch the content for free, but you have to watch the ads so I get something out of it. If you're blocking the ads, now you're stealing my content, which I'm supposed to make money on. You see? So this has been an argument, and this has gone back and forth many, many years. The thing is, since the adpocalypse, this has essentially changed the whole discussion. Now, most content creators would find it very hard to make a living on ad revenue. The very few that are lucky to do that essentially would have to have a really ginormous following of viewers who are all watching the ads at once. It's just not viable anymore in the modern day to really make a living, just having ads. You got to look for a sponsorship or a partnership opportunity. You have to be a live streamer that has things like the memberships and the super chats and the super stickers and all of that combined. Or maybe you stream on Twitch, but you upload to YouTube, so you kind of split your efforts. That's what I used to do a couple years ago. Maybe you have a Patreon and people pledge to your Patreon for additional content, and that's more income. But whatever it is, basically content creators have realized we can't just put all our eggs in one basket. It doesn't work. Having everything rely on ad revenue, it's not working anymore, right? But now YouTube, or Google in general, is apparently going to implement this new technology that is going to unblock ads. That's an interesting concept for sure. If everyone has to watch ads on YouTube, content creators could definitely see revenue increase. But at the same time, if there's someone who always watched your content but watched it with an ad blocker, and now they're just not going to watch it anymore, well, that's less views, less engagement. Will it actually hurt or help content creators? And another interesting part about this is they didn't ask anyone. It's not like they asked a YouTube creator, hey guys, would you prefer to have more or less ads with ad blockers or whatever? Like, no one's saying that. They're just kind of doing it because they can. It's their business, it's their website, and they're just trying to experiment with this. Now, I've told you guys something. Last year, when I started doing React content, I knew that I was going to have to be able to watch YouTube content without ads. So I got YouTube Premium. Used to be called YouTube Red, okay? Now it's called YouTube Premium. And it is really good for my uses, all right? If you're someone who watches a lot of YouTube content, this is something that you're going to definitely benefit from. First of all advertisements on YouTube are eliminated. Not just the ones that play on videos, but sometimes YouTube has other ads and things implemented in your search feed and everything. It's all removed, okay? In addition, things just work a lot better. So, for example, if you have YouTube Premium, you can actually use YouTube as an ongoing playlist and minimize it and do other stuff on your phone. You could play music and you could go read your emails. You could go read the news. You could scroll through. You could be playing something else, play a game or something while music is playing from YouTube. And it allows you to do that. Couldn't do that previously. You try to minimize YouTube, the whole thing just shuts down. But now you can actually minimize YouTube and continue to enjoy it while you're doing other things. It also allows you to do, it's called offline viewing. So let's say, for example, you have a favorite show. What if, and I know this is probably not the case for anyone on planet Earth, but what if the Level 1 podcast was your favorite show, but you knew you weren't going to be able to watch a bunch of them this week, but maybe later this week you're going to be at work, or you're going to go on a trip, you're not going to have a good internet connection, but you want to watch some of the podcasts as a way to kill time. Maybe you'll be on a bus for several hours or a train, right? So here's what you can do. You can actually set videos to auto-download, and they'll be on your device, your viewing device, without internet connection. So now you can go watch several videos, tons of videos later, and at your own leisure, and not need an internet connection to worry about what's buffering or whatever. It wouldn't be. It's already on there. You see? These are just a few of the options. Like, there's a lot of features of YouTube Premium. The reason I bring this up, I don't work for YouTube, and no, I don't get a cut if you get a YouTube Premium subscription. But I really feel like if you're someone who watches a lot of content on YouTube, it's kind of a no-brainer that you would do this. Now, yes, it is true that all YouTube content is essentially free. I know there's a few content creators that paywall stuff under memberships or whatever. But for the most part, all right, the content's free. But I have had such a dramatically increased enjoyment of the YouTube viewing experience since I've been a YouTube Premium subscriber that I would be remiss to not recommend it to you. Especially if this is happening and they're now going to try to make it so that you can't even block ads at all on YouTube. You've got to find a way around that. The last thing you want to do is be watching those intrusive ads. They are very intrusive, annoying. Some of these are minutes long and you can't skip. It's really bad. So I strongly recommend YouTube Premium. Now, here's the other cool thing. Let's say, for example, you like certain content creators and you watch their content all the time. If you get YouTube Premium, they're getting credit for your view, as if you watched all the ads on their channel. Yeah, they get paid for it as if you watch and you didn't. So essentially, what does YouTube Premium do? It gives you time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what most people want. That's the most valuable thing in life is time, right? You don't have to waste your time with the ads running. Support the people you like. Get the content you want. Don't watch a bunch of shitty ads. That's what the YouTube Premium is all about. So, again, if Google is going to be rolling this out and all of a sudden everyone starts noticing, oh my God, there's 5,000 ads on every video, I strongly recommend you get YouTube Premium. Now, here's the other thing, too. Some people might say something, all right? Some people might say, oh, wait a minute. Well, if this is the case and the ads are so intrusive, then content creators should just turn off ads on all their content and people will pay other ways to support the content. That would be the real way that a content creator would show that they like their audience. Actually, no. Want to know why? Because YouTube now has the ability. They started this, what was it, a year ago? 2 years ago? YouTube can monetize whatever they want. It's actually been made now that if you don't monetize your own content, YouTube can auto-monetize it anyway. So if you don't take creative control of your own content by becoming part of the partner program and running ads on it yourself, YouTube can still monetize your content. So it's like, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. I might as well run the ads, because if I don't and I don't get credit for it, YouTube's going to take credit for my work, right? So that's it. I mean, it just seems like we are destined for an ad-filled internet. And my suggestion is check out YouTube Premium, okay? All right. Continuing on. Starting on May 15th, so just a couple days, or a few days, 4 days, Burger King do I even have to follow that up? I guess I do. Burger King is doing something new to celebrate the release of the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse animated film. This is the follow-up to the 2018, was it 2018 or 2019? I can't remember. The Spider-Verse film from many years ago that did incredibly well, and everyone has wanted a sequel. Well, the sequel's coming out soon. It's actually early June, June 2nd. So they are launching, get this, the Spider Whopper. The Spider Whopper, or Red Whopper. All it really is, it looks like it's a standard Whopper with a red bun. All right. This reminds me of many years ago. Remember they had the, what was it, the Monster Whopper for Halloween, and it had a black bun, correct? And it was funny because the bun just didn't really have any special flavor or anything to it. It just seemed like a normal bun, but then when you used the bathroom, you crapped green. Because the food coloring in it, when digested by the human digestional tract, would change colors to green. So everyone was pooping giant, piles of green poop. It was disgusting. It was very revolting, actually. Not normal. So, the question is, if you eat the Spider Whopper, what color will you be pooping later in the day? But in reality, it's not a big deal. It's kind of neat, I think, to do a tie-in like that. I think that the colored bun might bring some people to Burger King who haven't been there in a little bit, I guess. But quite frankly, I'm not exactly sure, what to expect with it. Will it taste better? It doesn't look like they changed anything else. It looks like the standard Whopper. So, there you go. There is a rumor. Get this. Listen to this rumor. id Software is working closely with Bethesda to overhaul the combat, because last August, Bethesda showed off the Starfield preview, and people thought the combat looked awful. Like, it looked way too similar to, say, the Outer Worlds, or a Fallout kind of hybrid. And supposedly, id now is stepping in to try to help them, or they have been stepping in since last August to help them refine the game. Is it true? I don't know. It's just a rumor, and it's off 4chan. Now, we all know that 4chan is incredibly credible and is always correct. So, it's probably complete bullshit, by the way. There's one more story to talk about. Yesterday, all of the Mortal Kombat social media accounts started running a teaser about Mortal Kombat 12. And the teaser is very simple. It is a clock. And the clock is ticking to midnight. It goes 9, 10, 11, and you think, oh, they're counting through the Mortal Kombat games. It's going to hit 12. And as the hand is about to hit 12, it passes by 12 and goes to 1. So what does this mean? Well, there's no confirmation anywhere, but basically people are guessing. What this means is that, if you can believe it, this is going to be the second franchise reboot for Mortal Kombat. All right? What are you talking about, Phil? A second franchise reboot? What does that even mean? Well, Mortal Kombat started in the 1990s, and originally there were 3 games that formed a trilogy that was a narrative whole. Then they started with the 3D games in 4, and yes, the narrative changed a little bit, but then they kind of went crazy, because after MK4, basically they stopped releasing arcade games, and Mortal Kombat became exclusively console games, mostly on PlayStation. And I think it was, what was it? Deadly Alliance, Deception, there was another one, and then it ended in Armageddon. And basically what they did with those games is they ran the franchise, I hate to say it, kind of into the ground to where they couldn't write anymore. You know, you had Liu Kang was dead and a zombie, right? Good characters were all dead, or you know, and there's real shitty characters now that was like, what the hell is this? And basically the combat became non-competitive. It became more of like a party game, a silly game. What's the over-the-top gore and stuff that they could do? But it wasn't necessarily taken seriously. It was more of like a console franchise, and it wasn't really esteemed in the competitive fighting game community anymore, okay? So what ended up happening was, around the time of Street Fighter 4, which was 2009, a lot of companies started looking at that like, oh, wait a minute, this is interesting. This is an opportunity for us to possibly regain prominence. Because, you know, let's be honest, franchises like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, they've been doing all right, but they wanted to kind of regain mainstream popularity like Street Fighter 4 had. And so in the case of Mortal Kombat, they made Mortal Kombat 9, which came out about a year and a half after Street Fighter 4, and this was an opportunity for them to kind of redo things and fix the mistakes they had done in the plot and make the game more competitive again. So what they ended up doing was rebooting it, and Mortal Kombat 9 was essentially Mortal Kombat 1 again, where Raiden had a medallion that allowed him to go back in time and try to change the mistakes of the past. Try to change these key things in the timeline that had screwed stuff up and made everyone end up dying at the end of Armageddon. So, yeah, that's the story of Mortal Kombat 9, is let's redo it again, but fix those problems, okay? And so Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11 became a new Mortal Kombat trilogy over the last 10 to 12 years, where they re-explored the same plot lines. You had characters who previously were, you know, were one way. Now they're different characters. They've changed in the timeline. They play differently. Introduction of new characters and all kinds of stuff. And essentially, over this trilogy, the game became way more competitive. Rather than being a party game on PlayStation, now it became, oh, it's more mainstream of a fighter now. They started having competitive tournament leagues and everything, and it got back to prominence, quite frankly. It really did. Now, I'm not saying that Mortal Kombat ever had the prominence of Street Fighter or Tekken, but people started to respect the game again, which is always a good thing. And by the way, it's always a great seller, because Mortal Kombat games have a story as well as a bunch of offline content paired with the online content. It ends up being quite fun. So, they've already done this reboot. Mortal Kombat 9 was essentially the story of Mortal Kombat 1 again, but then it moved on and actually had characters from 2 and 3 in it as well. So Mortal Kombat 9 was almost like a redo of Mortal Kombat trilogy. And then the next games, 10 and 11, were essentially new iterations, new story, continuing in different directions that the original game didn't go. Okay? So, if you remember, at the end of Mortal Kombat 11, in the canon story, Liu Kang fights the time goddess, or whatever the hell her name is. I can't even remember what the hell her name was. He kills her, and when he does, he basically absorbs the powers of being like a time god. And he said, oh, well, now I can do things to kind of repair the damage that's been done to the timeline or whatever, and that's where the game ends. So, basically, people are surmising Mortal Kombat 12 actually isn't Mortal Kombat 12. It's going to be Mortal Kombat 1 redo. But the question there is, how does that work? Because they already did that. They did that 12 years ago with Mortal Kombat 9. It's the same premise. So first it was Raiden who went back in time to fix the timeline. Now it's Liu Kang. Like, it's the same story. And a lot of people are like, I don't know about this. You've already done it once. It's like we're supposed to forget Mortal Kombat 9. I mean, Mortal Kombat 9 was a great game. I loved it. It was a great reboot for the franchise. But I just don't know how many times we can reboot the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, one reboot, okay, we get it. You ran the franchise into the ground. I don't think Mortal Kombat 11 was bad and ran the franchise into the ground that we have to rewrite history again. You know? So it is kind of weird that they're doing that. Now, you might say, well, is it confirmed? Well, no, but that's essentially what the announcement teaser is showing. And now, you know, Ed Boon, who is, you know, the lead guy in Mortal Kombat, has been since the 90s, right? Used to be Boon and Tobias, right? He came out and tried to do a little bit of a prank, and he goes, oh, you know, we never even said the next game we're doing is Mortal Kombat 12. And it's like, dude, you literally have all these promotional materials already out. Like, you can't be pretending now to try to have the cat in the bag, put the cat bat into the bag. You can't do that, right? Literally a clock counting to 12, which is Mortal Kombat 12, and skipping it and going to 1. Obviously, you're full of baloney, right? So, we'll see, I guess. And now, of course, people are just going crazy. Oh, this means that Mortal Kombat will not be Mortal Kombat 12. It'll be a new fighting game that has Mortal Kombat characters, but it's going to cross over. It's going to have Homelander from The Boys, and it's going to have Peacemaker from the recent DC movies and Suicide Squad. And it's also going to have horror movie villains added in from recent horror movies. It's going to be the biggest amalgamation fighting game ever. That's why it's not Mortal Kombat 12. It's actually starting a new franchise that's not going to be called Mortal Kombat. And that's why they're saying this. And I'm like, like, what? Like, where are you even getting all of this? Right? Like, where do you get any of that? Like, there's zero evidence of any of it. You want to talk about rampant speculation? That's the definition of it. We just make shit up and throw it on the internet like it's real. Now, listen, I'm not saying that might not work. I'm just saying everything that we're seeing is pointing towards Mortal Kombat 12, and they're going to change it up a little bit or whatever, right? So, I just find it really ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, that is about it for gaming news. I'm actually taking a look, and it's all the news that I got to cover, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the segment. Alrighty then. Alright, outside of that, that about covers what I wanted to talk about on the show. So now I think what we're going to do is we're going to do some shout-outs for those who've contributed. We'll answer some questions. We'll see how much time we got left before we jump back into Elden Ring. By the way, I should say this. This week is going to be incredibly warm in Washington. We are about to have an incredible heat wave. In fact, all the news reports are that everyone's going to make a run, a mad dash for the stores to buy air conditioners. Because, get this, 50% of the people who live in Washington State don't have any form of air conditioning whatsoever in their homes. The Pacific Northwest, where I live in the United States, didn't used to be hot. But now, because of global warming, it's getting warmer and warmer every year. And now it's only May, and we're about to have record hot temperatures. So just to forewarn everyone, yes, very likely, very soon, you're going to hear a lot of, you know, air conditioning noises and atmospheric noises here. And there's nothing I can do about that. This season is what happens, all right? And please understand that. There's not much I can really do about it, right? It is what it is. It's going to be going on all summer probably, all the way into the fall until it cools down here. And then I can uninstall the air conditioner, open the window again, all right? All right. Okay, so let us get started, my friends. We start with Crystal Laser, who did a ginormous super chat this morning. He says, DSP, you've been entertaining me since Left 4 Dead 2. Here's a little something to thank you for it. I hope we'll try Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection sometime. He says, use this however you want, but hey, here's some money for it. So there you go. So Crystal Laser, thank you very much. It was a $50 super chat. Very generous. It's weird to think that I've been on the internet for so long, correct? That basically I'm in a situation where people have watched me for over a decade. And there's people who are like, yeah, I used to watch you when I was a teenager. You know, I'm in my 20s now. I'm grown up. I've got an adult life. And now I come back. I realize you still make content. And I'm back into it. And here you go. Here's some support. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You know? It's funny because, excuse me. Because in life, things change, right? In our lives, we have times that, you know, at one point in your life, you have a lot of free time. You're sitting on YouTube, you're watching a shitload of stuff. And then you get busy with real life, and the next thing you know, years later, you kind of come back to stuff, right? So that's what happens. You get, you know, these times in your life. And I think for a lot of people, those formative years of YouTube, you know, the 2010s, those early 2010s, watching content creators. And I was a prominent one back then. And a lot of people remember my content from back then. And then they come back later on like, holy crap, he's still here. He's still making content. Like, yeah, it's very different, right? The form of content I'm making today is dramatically different than anything that I used to make. But yeah, pretty good stuff. I'm happy that people enjoy my content over the years, and thank you for coming back and supporting it now. Crystal Laser. Death Talica 666 did a super chat. Oh, that's a troll. Never mind. Excuse me, it's a troll. And Chef Damaski did a super chat, and he says, happy Thursday. Thank you to Chef. Happy Thursday to you, Chef Damaski. Appreciate that. There we go. Oops. Very nice. Thank you, Chef. Okay. Alright, and now let's take a look at tips. Looks like a bunch of tips have come in. Let's see how many of these are actually legit and how many of these are just troublemakers. Excuse me. So I got a frog in my throat. Give me a second here. Hopefully that cleared it out. Okay. We start off today. Oh, here we go again. Wow. This is a follow-up to a discussion we had the other day about free will. So an anonymous tipper to me $2 says, if we define free will as the capability to do whatever we desire, I don't think that's what it is. When a question arises, how can we truly exercise free will if we do not have control over our wants and desires? This is a philosophical discussion for a future day. I would be very happy in the future to discuss the idea of human free will, right? That'd be nice to have that kind of a discussion in the future. Because you're right. Basically, with this discussion of free will, you can talk in a circle and make points and then immediately disprove the points you just made. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, thank you for the $2 tip. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about that on this morning's podcast, but maybe something for the future. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, here we go. We got... Someone to the dollar says, you're making up the fact that reviewers aren't giving Mario Odyssey a 10. They gave it a 10, not an 8. I particularly remember when Mario Odyssey came out. I loved it. I was blown away at how good it was. And people kept telling me, yeah, but it's not as good as, like, Breath of the Wild. And I was like, what? And then you go and look, and it was like, yeah, most reviewers were saying that Mario Odyssey was, like, maybe like a 9. But they were basically still kissing Breath of the Wild's ass. And if you remember, Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year that year. And I was like, dude, if you objectively look at the two games head up, I honestly feel that, like, Mario Odyssey did more. It innovated the franchise more. It had more consistently good graphics. It had more interesting levels. Like, Breath of the Wild was very good. What I liked about Breath of the Wild is that it brought Zelda into the modern era. Zelda had always had these kind of negative tropes, right? It had these things that basically, essentially, in the background, were kind of, they were holding it back. No real fast travel unless you have an ocarina that could summon a bird, and it can only take you to 3 parts of the map, right? No way to really pass time. No way to do this. All these things that didn't feel... The traversal. Oh my god. Traversal was always a big problem with the Zelda games, right? But now having a game where you could fully explore the map, you could do parkour, you could float around in the air, you know, it advanced the franchise in a big way. But again, I felt like Mario Odyssey was better, and that's my take, and you could disagree. But in general, that was the consensus among reviewers, is that everyone was reviewing Breath of the Wild higher than Odyssey, and I disagree. Okay, continuing on. Oh, let's see here. Radical Jaws is here. And he does a $14 tip, which is a very generous early tip for the stream. Let's play a nice animation for Radical Jaws. A little slow. I might have to refresh the page, but hopefully this plays. Let's see. It did. It was just slightly delayed. So let's get Radical Jaws on leaderboard and let's see what he has to say. Okay. Here we are. Okay. So he says, I have a question for your Magic 8 Ball today. He says, if I get burritos at lunch for work and I get a spicy sauce, will my butt get a visit from Spicy Mr. Hanky? Also, name a philosophical channel, Philosophy. Have a great day. Thanks for the kind words on Tuesday. All right. Let's find out if Radical Jaw... By the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing, if you tip $8 or more, you can ask the Magic 8 Ball a question. If you tip exactly $8, I'll play an 8 Ball animation that I have. But anyway, is he about to get a spicy fiesta in the bunghole? Signs point to yes. Excuse me. Didn't mean to sneeze. Signs point to yes. There you go. I'm allergic to 8 balls, apparently. All right. So, Radical Jaws, be careful about what burrito you eat. And thank you for the tip. Holy moly. All right. Okay. Up next. Someone tipped $2, said Big Cyber Shits, Fight and Feast Hype. Someone named Big Cyber Shits says Fight and Feast Hype. Well, at least the Cyber Shits are excited for the Fight and Feast. There you go. All right, continuing on. Got to push forward. All right. So, an anonymous tipper tipped $1.50. They want to talk about Mario Odyssey again. Okay. So, they said, I disagree personally. I think that Odyssey was good, but it felt lackluster and disappointing compared to Galaxy and Sunshine. It was outclassed by Hat in Time that was released the same year. Meanwhile, Breath of the Wild was probably the most fun I've had with a game in over a decade. Respectfully disagree, but that's fine. Everyone has different tastes. First of all, I don't even know what the hell Hat in Time is. Never even heard of it. Mario Sunshine, when I played it, I did not like it. Mario Sunshine felt like an unpolished, annoying mess of a Mario game. I couldn't believe that it was a mainstream Mario game because it didn't feel like it. It felt like a knockoff. Galaxy is great. I played Galaxy twice, and I really liked the game. I never played Galaxy 2. So maybe missing that perspective of having played Galaxy 2, maybe that would have changed my mind. But I still think to this day Odyssey is absolutely outstanding. So I will respectfully disagree with you, but thank you for the tip. Okay. Well, we got someone tipping $2, but they're essentially trying to talk about drama, and I'm not entertaining drama. So thank you for the $2 tip is all I'm going to say, and I'm going to move on. It's that simple. Let's see here. Let's see here. It is Big Papa Pump has tipped me $2 and asked the following question. Hope you have a good day back. Thank you. Do you prefer 5-star rating systems or 10-point rating systems for game reviews and why? They don't matter. It doesn't matter what rating system you use as long as you're scaling properly. You know, the number used is negligible. You know, I think people would understand a 10-point system better, or maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Okay. So, I got a $2 tip from an anonymous tipper talking about this Chrono Odyssey game again. People are saying there's been a gameplay reveal. It's a huge bombshell. Have I seen it? I haven't seen anything. No. Someone mentioned this on my stream the other day. I don't really know what it is. So people are saying it's an MMO, in which case I'm probably not interested. But maybe I'll have to look into it. Or maybe that would be something for someone to nominate for DSP versus the internet. So I could actually see it, you know, live and give you my live reaction to it, right? Well, there you go. All right, continuing on. All right, I got a $2 tip from Jordy Jordan, who says, big ups, pimp. I'm pretty sure that's not really Jordy Jordan, but I thank whoever this is who did the $2 tip. There we go. Continuing on. Big Papa Pump did another $2 tip. He says, a lot of viewers today for the podcast. Well, welcome to everyone who's here. I think, sadly, a lot of people are upset because there's no drama on the show today, which there was not going to be. I told you guys I'm done with that. You know, I said my piece on drama. I'm done with it, and I'm not addressing anymore. I'm done. I'm moving forward with my own content. I got shit to do. All right? Someone to the dollar says, did you eat a bag of Takis Fuego before the stream? Why are you licking your lips today? I don't know. Maybe it's the flavor of seltzer, tangerine lime. It is it is an actual sweeter seltzer than what I would usually drink. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I haven't noticed myself licking my lips more, but you could be right. So, I mean, let's face it. You are the one staring at my face, correct? Right? Oh, hold on. Another dollar tipper says, I could give you receipts of reviewers giving Mario Odyssey 10s, not 8s. You wonder why people think you're so dishonest. Yes, I'm incredibly dishonest. You're right. You're right. I mean, I've made it all up. You know, Breath of the Wild totally did not win Game of the Year that year over Mario Odyssey, as I stated multiple times. I've made that up. Okay, good for you. Mario Odyssey was my Game of the Year in 2017. I thought it was just way better. I did. I liked it way better than Breath of the Wild. Excuse me. Okay. Mango has re-upped his membership for 11 months. His trolls hijacked the Baxter name, so I've changed for you. I don't even know what that means, but thanks for re-upping your membership. If you give me a second, I would like to blow my nose because I sneezed. Now my nose is bothering me. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Wait a minute. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm supposed to click this. Alrighty. Continuing on. Let's see here. Pickle Man, what's going on? Good to see you here today. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Sneezing is too much drama? Indeed. It does. Alright, guys. If you have a couple quick questions to ask, we have just a couple minutes. I don't want to go too long on the podcast today. We have gone almost an hour and a half, so just a couple more minutes if you have any quick questions or anything to ask, and then we're going to jump back into Elden Ring, okay? Excuse me. So, Pickle Man, I don't have a question for you today, Pickle Man. It's really not on my mind, all right? So I don't really have anything to ask you today. If anything comes up, I'll let you know, though. Gut says, I hope one day you'll do a tier maker stream on the Assassin's Creed games. We'll see. Maybe I will. Maybe I will, indeed, right? Okay. No, I never got a nose job. What a ridiculous thing. No, I never got a nose job. You do realize that when people get older, their facial features change. You're aware of this, correct? Like, people's faces don't stay looking the same for their whole life. Or else there'd be like 90-year-old people with baby faces. You get that, right? Imagine we all just had the face we should have when we were a baby for the rest of your life. A baby face. Right? There you go. So what happens? You get old. I'm surprised it took this long for my face to sag. Yata has Timmy $2. Says, do you think Xbox can recover if Starfield flops? Will it be the be-all, end-all? I don't think it's going to be the end, but I think what will end up happening is my nose now is itching me, and I apologize, I'm touching it because now I sneezed and it's messing with me. Sadly, if Xbox doesn't get back on track with having good first-party games, here's what's going to happen. They're going to be the discount console. They're going to be the one known that if you can't afford or get the PS5, right, you get the Xbox, you jump on Game Pass, and you have a console box that will play a bunch of games, mostly third-party, for a discounted rate. And that's what they're going to be known for, as opposed to PS5, which will be the in-console everyone must own if they want to play exclusives. Right now, they're just no good exclusives for Xbox. They were banking on Halo Infinite. That lasted 3-4 months and flopped, right? Because the game developer, 343, wasn't good enough to keep up with demand, and the game ended up failing in long term because there wasn't enough updates, right? Then they started pumping out a bunch of indie games, which is always good, or these small titles with no hype, and that's good. Games like Hi-Fi Rush, that's great, but no one's going to buy Xbox to play Hi-Fi Rush. You understand that? Everyone who has Xbox will play it if it's on Game Pass, but no one's going to run out and say, I need an Xbox to play Hi-Fi Rush. 0 people will do that. You understand? They need the hype. And then when they announce, oh, the first big first-party game that we're going to do, right, is it's going to be Redfall. And Redfall comes out, and it's underwhelmingly terrible, right? Like, what did you think would happen? So there you go. So it is now everyone's kind of banking on this freaking Starfield game. And people are like, man, should we really do that? When the previews we saw a year ago were not good. It didn't look that good, right? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't think Xbox is going to die. It's just, it's going to change in its market placing. Right now, it is trying to compete. But if they can't pump out good games that are exclusives, then they're not going to compete. You understand? They're going to have to shift their positioning. So Dex says, maybe not the end of Xbox, but the end of Spencer. Dude, I already said, he did his company 0 favors going on interviews right after Redfall releasing, doing doom and gloom stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, we're not really selling consoles that well anymore. We're not really competing with Sony and Nintendo. We don't see that happening. If we had a really awesome first-party game that was an Xbox exclusive, we don't think this would sell consoles and make us, like, competitors. What are you talking about? That's exactly what your job is. Like, that's literally the man's job, is to make sure that the Xbox line of titles and consoles are, desirable to consumers. What else should the leader be doing? Right? And he's saying, oh, we can't do that. Well, then leave. If you can't do that, leave the company. Let someone who has ambition, someone who has drive, someone who has a plan, step in and take the reins. If you're just there to sit there and look like a dude bro, and you're fucking, he dresses like he's a college kid, and he comes on stage, does he ever have anything to say? He's always doing PR talk. He's always blowing smoke up everyone's butt. How about you do something to save your company? Instead of buying every company and then every game that comes out is shit, how about you take some control and make these companies get back on track to making good games? Like, what is going on here, right? That's the true leader's position, and he's not doing it. Someone needs to. I don't know. It seems like there's just so much going on with these different approaches. Like, remember how bad Don Matrick was? Don Matrick had this ultimate hands-on approach where he was controlling everything about the Xbox One launch. The problem was everything he had in mind was bad at the time. A decade ago, those ideas made no sense. All digital games, forcing the Kinect on people, making the Xbox One a TV box. None of that made any sense at all at the time. It was very stupid. So, what's worse, the guy who's hands-on and makes all bad decisions, or a guy like Phil Spencer who's appeared to being completely hands-off and makes no decisions? Either one seems bad for the company, right? Where's the happy medium? I don't know. I think they need to find it, and fast. All right, guys. I think it is time to end the show. I want to say thank you for a great show back. This is going to be a great streaming week for sure. I certainly hope that you guys will enjoy the content I put out this week. 6 full-time streaming days coming up for you. And thanks very much. I really appreciate everything. And a great start as well. Lots of discussion, lots of support, great positivity. I'm excited to jump into the week head first, and I hope that you will join me. But in the meantime, thank you for watching the Level 1 podcast. Until tomorrow, I hope that you have a great day. Enjoy your spring, and hopefully don't overheat. Like I say, we're about to hit hot temperatures. Hopefully you stay cool wherever you are. I'll see you tomorrow.